that was before. That was back leading BR was what I had.
I feel like a competition here. I'm going to have to like call my people.
What happens is, you're all joking aside. What happens is sometimes the the small guy or gal who's doing something like really cool that has a good tribe, they get more views. Like you're gonna get some views. I mean, you're Mary Bird Perkins, baby. But my point is it's been I had the baby cakes on early in the show, and the baby cakes episode was ridiculous, and we did that at Brouhaha. Yeah. So you ready? All right. She's gonna play the intro music. You want to stand up? Or you
I'll stand.
Okay. All right. This is Jodi, by the way. Jodi Alonso. Conachen.
So can you? Is it up high enough for me?
She's gonna. If it's not, she can tell you.
Tell me.
By pointing. Okay. So don't. If I point at the mic, don't acknowledge it. Just keep going.
This is the Geaux Rouge Show, where host Franz Borghardt celebrates businesses and people who are making Baton Rouge a better place. From culture to business, from food to philanthropy, Geaux Rouge connects you to what and who is happening. Now, here's your host, Franz Borghardt.
All right, welcome to episode 127 of the Geaux Rouge radio show. If you're listening on the radio or watching on YouTube Live, welcome. This week's show, we're going to have the folks from Mary Bird Perkins on, as well as one of my core guests, one of the first guests I ever had on any kind of attempt to do a radio show. That's the Ryan Harris. He's going to come talk about the Greater Baton Rouge Chess Academy. So we're going to have a fun show today. Before we jump to that, let's talk about a few things. Number one, if you want to watch this episode or any episode of the Geaux Rouge radio show, go to www.geauxrouge.com. GeauxRouge.com, spell go in that clever G-E-A-U-X way. GeauxRouge.com, and you can watch any episode on demand, depending on how enthusiastic I am to upload the recent episodes. As well, you can watch some of these episodes on Talk 107.3. You can listen to these episodes on the weekends, or Fridays sometimes, on Talk 107.3. I compete sometimes against softball, basketball, and as much as I have a huge ego, guys, I can't compete against basketball. Like now women's basketball. I mean, Franzi might as well be on Tuesday afternoons or something. So, anyways, that is the way you watch it. But this is the other point. If you have an idea for a show, for an episode, or a guest, I don't care if they're cooking. I don't care if they're singing. I don't care if they're painting. Anybody that's doing something cool in Baton Rouge, send me an email at info at GeauxRouge.com, and I'll throw them on the show. Let them have their 5 minutes of fame. We've had folks from Baton Rouge Sucks on. We've had Mary Bird on. We've had, you name it. Who do we have? Alondra, who do we have? It's been so long. Who did we have last week? We had, it's the episodes are so good.
Denim Day.
We did have, can I talk about Denim Day for a second?
Yeah.
Raising money for La Fossa.
La
Fossa. Okay, so sexual assault, Denim Day is an international day. If you were to listen to the episode last time, you'd know this. It's an international day originating in Italy, and I was a runway model. I runwayed 2 different denim jackets. It wasn't like Fashion Week or anything. I did actually win one of the jackets that I wore. It was a tiger, or it was a flaming tiger jacket. So the jacket was kind of bedazzled. It's denim, kind of bedazzled with a tiger that had a flame coming. It was something. So I got it. I won it in the auction, but they raised a ton of money. It was a great organization. It was great to support survivors of sexual assault. They were on last week, and look, we need to. You know what, Ryan, second guest today. I mean, right now I'm sitting in studio with Jodi. Ryan is the only guy that I know dresses almost as good as I do. So, Ryan and I may have to do a chess fashion kind of thing, but we'll talk about that in the second half. First guest I have in studio right now, Jodi Conachen, Chief Operating Officer from Mary Bird Perkins. Jodi, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks so much for having me.
So no. Thank you for being here. So I reached out to Mary Bird. I said, hey guys, what's going on? And one of your colleagues said, hey, you've got to have Jodi on the air. And small world, I actually went to law school with Jodi's husband, who is now a phenomenal Zachary judge. Shout out to David. Judge David. I have to call him Judge now. So, Jodi, welcome. So, look, bigger picture first. What is Mary Bird Perkins? If you've been living under a rock, Jodi, what is Mary Bird Perkins?
What is Mary Bird Perkins? So Mary Bird Perkins is a cancer center. We are a regional cancer center. We have been growing and exploding exponentially across the region, into Mississippi as well. One of the things we've done is our purpose, our mission, is to really go into communities where they don't have resources. We like to go places where we're asked and where there's a need. So we lead with our outreach and screening services first. Do a lot of work with underserved communities, and then we're up to 10 cancer centers at this point across the state and into Mississippi, and growing and adding physicians and adding experts and adding resources. Part of what we want to do is surround the cancer patient to make sure they have all access to anything they need to really fight this disease the best they can.
So when you say cancer, just so the listeners know, we're talking about any type of cancer, or are we talking about a specific type of cancer? And
right, full service.
Okay.
We have the largest number of physicians, oncologists treating patients
Wow.
in the state. We've grown to that level. We treat on the North Shore. Also, obviously, we have several locations here in Baton Rouge, and we have lots of partners because it does kind of take a village to put together these resources and to fight this disease. Our whole mission is about survivorship, improving conditions, and lessening that burden of cancer for our patients.
So I have been fortunate to never have someone in the direct blast radius suffer from cancer. I've had indirect friends, and I've been a fundraiser and supporter of Mary Bird and other cancer organizations. Most of the time, the way I get to hang out with you guys is, in addition to everything you do for those who have cancer, you do a lot of cool stuff around Baton Rouge, and if there's a social element to the fundraising.
Right.
Give me some examples of some of the stuff you guys have been doing in a post-COVID world.
Right. That's a key component, because
Right.
obviously there was lots of fundraising that was really centered around events. What we've done is really connect back to individuals, because although fortunately you haven't had that connection, but
Right.
so many people have someone that's close to them, their family, their friends, who's been touched by cancer in some way. And our team has done, our development team has done a phenomenal job of really connecting people to our mission and connecting them back to our services. We run a physics department in conjunction with LSU, where we train residents, the next generation of individuals who are going to be fighting cancer. So there's so many aspects, from technology to really focus in on, that we're able to connect donors back to, so that they're helping us build just cutting edge technology through what we've already built, kind of this underutilized or unknown, some of the services we provide. From a fun perspective, I'll flip over to our
Right.
Echo Alliance
Well, you
group.
knew
I know we have to go with our ladies that we have.
This is a relatively, I don't want to say it's a brand new initiative, but it's a relatively newer initiative.
It is.
It's
a little over a year old now.
Right. So
yeah.
what is the Echo Alliance, Jodi?
So where this came together is we actually had a group of ladies who really wanted to make a difference, who were connected to Mary Bird Perkins, who had either utilized the services or had people very close to them that utilized the services. And there's several groups around the city who do fundraising, and they really wanted to have a group of women who could focus in on the cancers that affected them or the people they knew, and really add something back. And so it started off as a group of a dozen women in a conversation, and right now we're almost to 200 women.
I was going to say, you've got some heavy hitters in that, I don't want to say cadre, in that group.
Right,
I mean,
right.
so like how, walk me through, okay, the easy correlation, the easy tie is, okay, this female attorney who has experience because a loved one has had a form of cancer, breast cancer, whatever, that's an easy connect, right? Tell me how you guys selected these nearly 200 people.
Well, we started, Beverly Brooks Thompson actually was very
big fan of Beverly Brooks Thompson.
Yeah, she was great. She actually was one of the founders and helped us start this initiative, and really started reaching out to her network and started kind of telling the story of Mary Bird, telling the story of the needs of what we needed funded. and it grew exponentially. We talked about this a little earlier, is that everyone has a network. So everyone started to reach out to their networks, and then their networks reached out to other networks. What we really started off as a pilot program grew very quickly. And so within a very short amount of time, we reached 100 people. Each woman who enters the Echo Alliance donates $1,000 to the organization. So very quickly off the bat, we had $100,000 to look at what can we do with this money now.
Is that an annual commitment, or it's just a straight off the top?
It's an annual commitment.
Wow.
So every year, what Mary Bird Perkins does is we bring a couple of projects back to these group of women for them to select what they think, where they want to put their money to make the biggest difference in cancer care. They utilize some technology that we put in our location on Women's Hospital's campus to really advance cervical cancer needs. And they're looking at another project related to research coming up in this next year that they want to fund in the future. So it's really interesting because we can bring them back kind of a cadre of different items for them to pick from, right? And then they select what they feel. There you go. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
All right. So I love it. I love it. The fact that you have a group of really powerful women. And look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. You don't always know who a cancer survivor is. Cancer survivors don't always wear it on their, a badge of courage directly such that you can see it, although they're very courageous individuals, right? In the world that we're in today, Scott Miller's calling me right now, literally. So in the world we're in today, though, with social media, it's becoming a little bit more, it's becoming more mainstream in terms of knowing, okay, this person is a cancer survivor. This person is ringing the bell. So to me, what I love is the network facet, right? Is, most of the individuals that, if, for example, one of my good friends' spouse has cancer, okay, I'm in that prayer circle now.
Right.
And they're doing a fundraiser somewhere. I'm about it. And the fundraising effort is to me, that's the fun part. Sure. You want a check, right? You want a big donor to drop the big check.
Right.
But I like the way that the community comes together for some of the fundraisings, whether it's a give back night where, hey, a restaurant like Mestizos or a restaurant like Reginelli's is giving back a percentage of money to a cause or to an event or to help support someone raising that. So I love it. I love it. And shout out to Beverly Brooks Thompson. She's my unicorn. She's my spirit animal. So
what's even great too, you talk about that network. One of the components, and of course we offer this to all patients, but specifically to this group of ladies, our mutually good friend Angela Hammett is over our support services and navigation program and offers herself as a resource so that if you have someone in your family has cancer and needs to be navigated, she offers that up to our Echo Alliance members so that you usually need someone to help you kind of walk through the process, and it's another resource that we offer to that team.
I would imagine that is one of the most. So when tragedy strikes, and I say tragedy in the sense of you get bad news, right? Really bad news. And you're in this state of what do I do? And yeah, you have doctors, oncologists that are probably telling you, hey, this is what you do. But as someone that deals in high volatile, stressful situations in my day job, shout out to the Borkhardt Law Firm, major sponsor of the Geaux Rouge radio show, criminal law. Shout out to Borkhardt Law Firm. I can tell somebody as the quote unquote doctor in the room, as the lawyer in the room, I can tell somebody this is what's going on. And I can watch my information going right over their heads.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of having a layperson,
right?
Maybe even one of these Echo Alliance individuals, just being a voice of human decency and just like, hey, this, Jodi, is what you need to know. This is what you need to know. So I love that. Now, changing gears a little bit, and shout out to Angela. She's going to have to come on the show.
We're going to have to bring her in, and she'll talk all about this component of getting people navigated through cancer and through these programs. Because to your point, when you're in that room and you've heard that news, you need that advocate with you to be able to hear the same information and be able to translate it back to you in a way that's meaningful.
I tell people all the time, and again, I'm not trying to correlate this back to my job, but I tell people all the time, get a notebook, write stuff down. You're in the weeds. You're in the thick of it. Write stuff down. Do this. Have someone who's not in the weeds asking questions that can be your advocate, so to speak. So, but changing gears slightly, Jodi. So you are not to downplay who we have on the studio today, Alondra. Alondra's on Master Controls. We have the chief operating officer of Mary Bird Perkins, folks. So what does that mean? And how did you get that gig?
Well, I've been with Mary Bird Perkins for a little over 4 years
Okay.
now, and I was in the marketing and communications team actually in the past. But a lot of what I had done with the organization related to strategic planning and some of the business development. And so when our chief operating officer moved into the role of CEO, there was a vacancy behind him, and so I was fortunate enough to apply and get that position. I've been in the role for around 3 months now. I think it was January I moved over. So a lot of what I do is operationalizing all these plans and the business structure and helping making lives easier for our physicians and our team, and also making sure that we maintain high quality for our patients as well.
So before we went on, we were talking about kind of the branding of different cancer organizations in and around Baton Rouge, and that's kind of what I want to ask you. How do you, doing what you do, how do you make Mary Bird stand out? How do you develop that branding? How do you develop that household component that makes Mary Bird a priority in the hearts and minds of not just donors, but patients and other individuals?
Absolutely. I started obviously on that branding side. So working from that component, there's so many wonderful stories because you can only market what's real.
Right.
So there's this truth behind the approach of our the care that our nurses, our physicians, our therapists, our physicists, our dosimetrists. I mean, there's so many professionals that go into making Mary Bird Perkins great. I remember when I first started with the organization, I actually got on the elevator with this family, and there was a young girl in the elevator with me, and I said hello, and we spoke for a second, and she turned to her mother, who was there to receive treatment, and said, "This is like the best place on earth. We should come back here."
Like under better circumstances.
Right, and my heart just, because she has no idea what's going on or what they're
Right.
walking into, but for her to feel that everybody was so friendly and not have that understanding of that she was walking into a cancer center, I think that speaks to who Mary Bird is that we may have our own personal things that we're bringing to the table or have a bad day, but we all show up for our patients and make sure their experience is seamless.
So you mentioned earlier in the episode or in the show, Mary Bird's mission. What is Mary Bird Perkins' mission?
To improve survivorship and lessen the burden of cancer.
So when you say burden of cancer,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, to coin the phrase "cancer sucks," which is not a Franz Borchardt original. I have some pink Yeti mugs. I'll make sure I get you guys some of them that say, of course, it has the Borchardt Law Firm on it. Shameless plug for the Borchardt Law Firm, but it says "cancer sucks" on there that we give out in October. What are some of those things that people don't think about
Right.
that you would only know if you were going through it?
Right. Lessening the burden is about everything from transportation needs. So many in our community, when they come in, if you have a regimen, whether it's infusion or radiation therapy, you might have to be at the cancer center multiple days in a row, and that can stress your family ties. You might not have reliable transportation. So ensuring that we get you to the treatments you need is a piece of the puzzle. From palliative medicine, meaning that not as you treat, move through that cancer journey, there may be medications that are needed that we can supplement and give you additional resources. And even just navigating you through this process, one of the things that can get very complicated is you will immediately have multiple appointments with specialists. You might have to work between several doctors or a team of physicians. So helping you navigate that process and helping your loved ones understand and help you navigate that process, that's all part of lessening that burden.
What would you say the biggest obstacles are that you have faced throughout your career at Mary Bird and that Mary Bird is facing?
I think the landscape of healthcare continues to evolve. And part of our approach has always been partnerships. And so how those partnerships shifts and change have been modified over the years, but our focus and that clarity of what's best for the patient. I know when I first moved into this role, there were a couple of sticky situations with patients and patient care where I got a phone call of like, what do we want to do? And I felt very comfortable based on the history of the organization to say, what's the best thing for the patient.
Right.
And then that's the decision we make. So to have that comfort to be able to make that kind of quality decision and know that you have the backing of the organization behind you. So it's an obstacle, but also that grace of being able to move forward quickly.
Is it tough moving in that direction? I mean, putting the patient first seems pretty easy, but the reality is, I would imagine that there are a lot of other things that come into consideration.
Right.
You know, the financial piece,
Mhm.
the scheduling piece. So I guess my question is how do you create that balance
Mhm.
of wanting to do what's best for the patient, doing what's best for the patient, but balancing just, I guess, reality of treatment.
Well, and I think you touched on it because obviously there's that financial play that you
Right.
talk about when you talk about patient care. Mary Bird Perkins is committed to providing care regardless of people's ability to pay. And the reason we can do that is Echo Alliance and donors. The
Mhm.
donor support that we have from the community is what gives us the ability to add support services that lessen that burden. Those are the pieces that help us kind of put together the programs that are more effective and get us in a position where we can continue to provide great care and have to downplay some of the financial issues and really
Okay.
focus on the patient.
Well, I would imagine it takes a lot of leadership to do what you guys are doing, right?
Mhm.
Both inside of Mary Bird Perkins as well as entities like the Echo Alliance, where you
Mhm.
have over 200 women who I
Mhm.
would imagine you have probably over 200 leaders in their own respected areas and fields. So talk to me a little bit about leadership at Mary Bird and essentially, you know, how that has played a role in growing as an
Mhm.
entity.
You know, it's a great question. We had a long-term CEO, Todd Stevens, who helped really grow Mary Bird to where we are today. And in the transition, Dr. Fontenot, who was in operational roles, really um, executed on that mission on a daily basis. So we had this really wonderful transition from leadership to get us into a position where we can grow and strive and make great decisions. So that succession plan that was really thought out over 5, 6, 7 years to make sure that we train up the people behind us, utilize our internal resources, and continue to grow our people.
Well, we're about out of time.
Mhm.
Alondra is going to scold me later. We're about out of time. Jodi, thank you so much for coming in. If people want to get more information real fast, if they want to get more information about Mary Bird Perkins, who do they need to reach out to?
Well, they can go to our website, marybird.com, and there's all sorts of resources there available to them.
Well, stick around. We're going to take a break, and we'll talk a little bit more at the break. Okay, Jodi? And look, we'll be right back with Ryan with the Chess Academy, the Greater Baton Rouge Chess Academy. Stick around for the second segment. I'm so sorry. So it's been a day. Okay, so don't leave yet. You're still
Okay.
on YouTube Live.
Okay.
You're good. You did great. So YouTube, one more time, ways people can get involved, ways people can connect.
Absolutely. Reach out. Look at our website, marybird.com. There's ways to give. There's ways to volunteer. If you want to connect to the Echo Alliance, I will say there's also an investor collective, which is the men's group.
I was just about to
I know.
ask you.
I meant to say that
did
earlier,
not
but there is a
want-
men's group as well.
This is kind of like the dilemma I have. Shout out to Junior League of Baton Rouge.
Yes.
It's like when I go, hey, it's great that you guys have this all women's organization that cultivates leaders. We should have a men's organization like that. And they all look at me and like, yeah, that's what we call the last 2,000 years of civilization. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
sorry. So there is a
There
men's
is
organization.
a men's organization.
What's that one?
Investor Collective.
Okay. Investor Collective. Do you have any criminal defense attorneys in that one?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Yes.
Can you tell me who that criminal defense attorney is? No, you can't?
Get it done.
Yeah. Oh, he's my criminal defense attorney. He's
Well,
a criminal defense attorney.
I got you.
Yeah.
You had a specific.
Nobody's invited me, Ryan, to be an investor
I would
collective.
like to invite you to be in the
Smart-
Investor
smart-
Collective today.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely.
You are
Absolutely.
always so you guys know we had so much more to talk about. I could have built an entire show around you. You will be invited again anytime you guys have anything. Let us know. And then Alondra, can you do me a quick favor so that we can get her out of here and Ryan out of here? Let's take a photo with so that she can skedaddle and get back to her wonderful life. You're on next, but you'll be in a separate picture. All right, thank you so much. And I'll send it all over. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend. Yeah. So you're going to go downstairs and out the glass door when you get to the bottom of the stairs?
Perfect.
Okay.
So good to see you.
Pleasure. Tell David I said hello. How over was that in Kim, your job? Come on, Ron. Come on. No, you did great. You did great. So we'll have about how much time with my number one? Okay. I mean, we can reduce Ryan for 15 minutes, maybe. I'm not trying to steal money from. That's okay. It's been a long day for her. That's fine. I'll do a quick intro and then we can move over time. So look, you got whatever you want to bump. Whatever. Taylor Swift. Got bad blood. Yes, I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. Sometimes I feel like I'm. Never mind. I was going to say I feel like I'm dating Taylor Swift. That would be trouble. I say something like that out loud.
It's your live, friends.
And I am live. Yes. He doesn't do anything.
He's making drum pads. Yeah, my school ordered 6 from him.
All right, welcome back to the second half of the Geaux Rouge radio show. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, but if you're tuning in on the radio, welcome. This is your host, Franz Borghardt. We're jamming out to a little Taylor Swift, Bad Blood. I'll tell you who doesn't have bad blood. Alondra, who's on Master Control, one of my favorite folks. One of my favorite folks in the Talk 107.3 pantheon of radio talent.
There's like 2 of us that work here.
Alondra, you're the only one named Alondra. She's my favorite Alondra, in fact. So look, in this half of the Geaux Rouge show, I've got Chess Master. Is it safe to say? Can I say chess master?
No, I'm not a chess master.
You're not a chess master. That's like it's like me saying I'm a specialist.
Right.
I've got chess instructor, owner of the Greater Baton Rouge Chess Academy, Ryan Harris, who's going to be joining us momentarily. Ryan is one of my favorite human beings. And dude, I'm so excited, Alondra, because my 7-year-old has hit the age. He's into games now, right? He plays video games. He plays like certain games, board games. He's getting into the age where I can send him to Sensei Ryan to start teaching him the exquisite art of chess. Now, we've played chess before. He and I have played chess before. It's kind of, we're working on learning the moves, right? That's one of the fun. We're going to talk about that, Ryan.
Right.
Ryan actually was on the show before it was a show. So before the Geaux Rouge show, I had something called Leading BR. And Leading BR was something I did out of my law office on Perkins Road. And it was just like a little video podcast. And it grew into the Geaux Rouge show. I think 225 and as well as Business Report did some coverage of it. And it just kind of it blossomed. You know, I've been doing this show now for like 127 episodes. How many years is that, Alondra? That's a few years now I've been doing this thing. It's okay. Nobody's counting. So anyways, point being, if you want to get more information about the Geaux Rouge radio show, go to www.geauxrouge.com. If you want to send us some show ideas, email us at info at geauxrouge.com. The featured sponsor of the Geaux Rouge radio show, the featured sponsor, is one of the finest criminal defense firms in the multiverse, the Borghardt Law Firm. I'm glad that the folks over at the Borghardt Law Firm have been goodly enough to let me do this radio show. My boss over there is not very nice. That's me. So, Ryan, welcome to the studio. Ryan Harris, good to have you.
Glad to
How's
see
life,
you.
man?
Oh, life is well.
So, you know what I like? I like a guy that juggles and hustles a whole bunch of different things. You're a musician. You're an exquisite fan of the finer things in life, cigars, good adult beverages, and you're a chess instructor, a purveyor of chess, if you will. You're here today to talk about your organization, Greater Baton Rouge Chess Academy, founded how many years ago?
Oh, that was founded 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, has it been 10 years?
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, man. When did we do that? When did you do the radio show or the video packet? It was maybe about 7 or 8 years.
7
ago.
years, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the kicker.
Right after.
So you've been in existence a little bit longer than my individual law firm has been in existence, and I was still working for Stephen Moore at that time. So man, congrats on the. Now
It's been great. It's been
You were before the pandemic, during the pandemic, now after the pandemic. So let's start. What is the Chess Academy of Great Baton Rouge, or Great Baton Rouge Chess Academy?
The Chess Academy of Greater Baton Rouge is an organization that's designed to teach kids chess, and they travel like a traveling baseball team, if
Okay.
you would, to tournaments in various cities and states, and we're here looking to go abroad. Uh, well, the kids compete, for their, of course, all the kids are worried about their ranking, but just for the kids to have fun, enjoy the game, and learn.
So when you started this thing, what was your goal? Like did you see like the Bruce Lee movie where you had like a field of like martial artists doing like the moves? I mean,
Of course.
I know you well enough
Of
to know
course,
that.
Of course.
So right now you've got about 7 to 10
Yeah.
students. We were talking because when earlier pre-pandemic, it was huge.
Way more.
Well, but of course the pandemic, probably people don't want their kids going out and all that stuff. Before the show started, I was talking to you about kind of the dynamics and logistics. Talk to me about, if I had a kid that was enrolled in the Chess Academy, how does that kind of work? Like from a parental standpoint, do I drop them off? Do I stick around? Like, where are you doing this? Like, talk to me. Walk me through it.
I'm at a few areas. I'm
Okay.
at Starbucks downtown on Sunday mornings.
Love me some
Yeah,
Starbucks.
Right. The kids
right?
love the Starbucks.
Yeah.
My biggest class is Blue Bonnet Library. I'm there for a 5 o'clock class, a 6 o'clock
That's
class.
cool that they let you. I mean, and that's one of the best life.
It is.
I mean, it really is nice.
Right.
Okay.
And the kids section in the back is where you'll find me. From
Okay.
Friday. Yeah.
So they're
On
cool with
Mondays.
you doing that, and
Oh, yeah.
and then I mean, they have to love the fact
Yeah.
that you're teaching.
Right. They love to see us come.
Yeah. So okay. So if it were at the library, I would show up with little Fisher. Do parents normally stick around? Do they drop off
I encourage that the parents don't stick around so that the kids can be themselves
and
you
not
know?
distracted?
Yeah,
by,
not distracted or pressured
Okay.
by parents or that kind of thing. So that the kids can relax and be
So
comfortable.
what are your age ranges for students?
7 to 17.
7 to 17.
Mm.
Okay. Is it ever too early to start chess, or what's the perfect 7? The perfect honey age?
7 is the honey age I found.
Okay.
6 is great. It depends on the kid. If you see that your kid is easily grasping concepts and memorization is pretty good, you can start as early as 6. But the best thing to do is just bring the kid to me, and we can figure out if it's something he can
So
catch up on.
I would imagine that this is the kind of thing, kind of different than piano lessons, right? Where they go home and they can get on a piano and start practicing all that. To do chess, you kind of need 2 people. I mean, you can play chess by yourself, but so I would imagine the interactive part at home is mom or dad or somebody playing chess with the student, right? So ideally,
That is not ideal.
no, don't play chess.
Don't
Tell
play
them
chess.
not- Okay, well, so don't play chess with my son.
No, of course you can play chess. The problem I found is that sometimes with they're learning the right way at the chess academy, and
But
they
bad
get
ways at home.
Bad ways at home. So when I see them the next week, I have to deframe their mind for everything
Okay.
they did a whole week.
Well, that
But,
seems to me, not to help you run a business or an instruction, but that to me seems to be an opportunity for you,
It is.
instructing the parents.
Yeah, it is. But it is. But the kid, unfortunately, parents
Don't want to.
don't forget what it's like to be a student because no telling when was the last time they've been a student.
Well, that's
So-
that. So for me, it is. This is what I tell folks. Just because I love to play something doesn't mean I know how to teach something.
Right, that's true.
And I want to be the parent that, like, look, I love watching basketball. I love that my son loves basketball. I don't need to be coaching basketball.
Right.
In fact, I'm the last person that needs to be coaching basketball. And I know that. Knowing that is an important thing. So, okay, walk me through kind of the curriculum. So day one, someone who has no chess experience.
Day one, of course, we're just starting with learning the pieces, learning the board, and I have a curriculum that I follow that takes the kid from, of course, the first day to the last. And of course, the thing that's cool about chess is always learning. You never stop learning the game. As long as you're moving the pieces from square to square, you're going to always continue to learn.
Well, and what I love about it is it's teaching people how to win and it's teaching people how to lose, because that's a reality, right?
That is.
I posted on social media not too long ago. I don't know if you saw that somebody made a comment to me that they never lost a trial before, and I kind of was thinking to myself, well, I guess you haven't tried a lot of trials.
Oh.
Because I mean, losing is an inevitable part of any competition. Now, some sides have different advantages. Like, so as a prosecutor, I have bigger advantages because I have more power and authority than I do as a defense attorney. But being in a weakened position sometimes, as you know, might give me an advantage, a tactical advantage. So I like the idea of teaching someone how to lose. Now, I will tell you, my son doesn't lose well. Doesn't lose. Landra, do you lose well? I'm not saying you are a loser. I'm saying, do you lose well?
No, I'm extremely competitive.
You are extremely
Yeah,
competitive?
like
Okay.
very.
Okay.
I'm about to make y'all laugh. I have a student, and tomorrow, believe it or not, two of my students will be competing in the Louisiana chess championships that they're having, Scholastic Chess Championships.
Cool.
Put on by the U.S. Chess Federation. And I've been teaching this kid for 5 years. And in the 5 years, I was like, how many times have you beaten Coach? And I said, count them on your hand. He was like, 4. I said, but hey, look, that's why you're going to do well tomorrow.
Right.
You know,
I mean, it's to me, we're not going to get into a bigger conversation about culture of giving everybody a trophy and all that. We're not going to get into that conversation, but I feel like part of the problem of our youth, and I deal with the juvenile justice system, so I feel comfortable saying this, is we put such a value in winning that we don't put a value sometimes on the actual playing the game, and we don't put a value in learning from losing. Talk to me a little bit about that facet of the curriculum, right?
One of the awesome things about chess is there are moves and move counts. So the kids are always constantly writing down their moves, and we get to go back and look at games that they've played or other people have played to figure out, hey, where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? You know, and that's of course later in their learning that we start to do a lot of analysis, but that helps them grow so much when they can. It's okay to make a mistake, but it's even better to learn how to learn from it.
So if I were to sign my kid up to this wonderful chess academy, what kind of commitment does the average student have? Are we talking once a week? Do we talk?
Classes are once a week for 1 hour, but in between classes, I use a lot of resources, apps, puzzle apps that I'm having the kids do for homework between class to class, YouTube videos of things, concepts that I want them to either learn or to reinforce, as well as they have access to myself. The kids and I play constantly from between week to week, and sometimes I'll use a game that we played on Thursday at their class on Monday. You know, so then they're exposed to each other. They get to play each other through.
Is it kind of like watching film? Like
yes, it is.
Oh,
it is.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
All right. So the other thing I like about chess is, you can have an elaborate chess setup, right?
Oh yeah.
You can have it,
Yeah.
but you can also have a rollout chess pad and some plastic pieces, and you can get a game going anywhere.
Right. And that's what the kids majority use at tournaments, is just a simple rollout. But a chessboard could be, anything. At some parks they have them, embedded into the tables. The only thing you need is the pieces.
So I guess my question is how do I get in touch? If I'm listening, if I'm interested, how do I get in touch with you? How do I get more information? How do I sign up?
The Chess Academy of Baton Rouge, we're on Facebook and Instagram. My personal number is 225-806-3930 for anyone who'd like to get in contact to my direct line.
Say that hotline number one more time.
225-806-3930.
Now he is a committed man. Don't be calling Ryan up.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, Ryan will never be able to be on the show again. So I love it. I've loved it since day one. I've watched little kids. I mean, man, I've seen all sorts of age kids playing chess with you guys. And what I really love is I like watching. So, like, the hardest part for me in conveying it to my son, and again, I'm not a chess instructor. Right. I teach at the LSU Law Center. I teach criminal law there, but I that's something that I'm so embedded in that it's different, right? But teaching my kid about a knight and how a knight moves and how you need to, and the difference between offense and defense, and how, like, oftentimes we'll be playing and he'll get so excited about taking a piece that he'll leave something wide open, and I'm like trying to not, like, part of me just loves the fact that he loves playing, and I don't want to do something to the hard thing. Let me tell you, and you've got kids, so you know, the hard thing is competing with electronics that don't necessarily, like, do I love the fact that I can pull out a phone and he can watch a YouTube video at dinner to where I can actually enjoy a meal out? Sure, I love that occasionally, but like the antisocial, like zombie like way he's
Right.
staring at the screen, where he's not having interaction. I do not love that at all. So part of me loves that you're doing something that's an in-person thing. And I asked you downstairs before we went on, in a COVID world, have you done any virtual, or are you still trying to push for in person?
No, I'm back to straight
Okay.
100% in person. One thing I found during COVID is that, hey, the Baton Rouge city, we need to up the culture of chess in the city.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are often traveling all over the place because there aren't enough tournaments that are put on here in Baton Rouge area. So when there's short tournaments director, so that's one thing this summer I'm going to take the time and
I'm just waiting for the opportunity for the Borkart Law Firm to sponsor the first ever citywide
most
chess
definitely.
academy competition or whatever. And you and I toyed about that, right?
Yeah.
It's the COVID hit.
Yeah.
And look, I used to, as you know, throw large scale food events. Shout out to Wingamania, which actually raised money for Mary Bird Perkins. First,
It was great. It was great.
Yeah. After that, it's like you start, and the blowback of what are you trying to do? Do you not care about people? And you're like, whoa, I just want to throw a charity event. Throwing a large scale event looks differently now. But man, I would with all the different events we have around Baton Rouge, we got to have a chess tournament somewhere.
Yeah.
And dude, Goodwood Library is another place that I
phenomenal.
could see. So yeah, man. One more time, we're running low on time. Londra's gonna yell at me if I do this. One more time. How do I get involved? What do I need to do? Like, don't teach your own son. I got that part.
My name is Ryan Harris with the Chess Academy of Baton Rouge. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram, and as well as email the Chess Academy Baton Rouge at gmail.com, or you can, of course, call my cell phone number, 225-806-3930.
Give me some of the biggest misconceptions about your sport. I call it a sport.
It is a sport.
It's a sport. Give me some of the biggest misconceptions. And what do you think keeps people away from playing?
The biggest misconception is that chess is only for a certain class of people,
Mm-hmm.
which is odd that you're a criminal defense attorney, because a lot of people that are incarcerated, they play a lot of chess. So it's a huge spectrum for both king and peasant.
Well, and look, here's the thing. I remember to this day my grandfather teaching me how to play chess. It is one of the core memories of my life, and I remember one of the things he was trying to instill upon me was seeing the board, seeing the moves, not just moving the pieces. And I use it in my day job today. Not to bring it back to the Borkart Law Firm yet again. How many times did I say Borkart Law Firm today? I don't even know. But I try to convey to clients, we're trying to see the board. We're not trying to just be reactive. We're trying to see the board. We're trying to see 5 moves ahead. Chess, not checkers. So yeah, man, I'm excited that you're here. Ryan, anytime you want to come back, let me know. Anytime you got anything, do you have anything coming up that we need to know about, or besides, getting fish into the fold, man?
Right, we definitely have to get fish signed up.
Dude, I'm excited, dude. In fact, summertime, air conditioning, playing a little chess. I like it, dude. I like it. You need to start teaching adults.
I'm thinking about it.
It's a little different. That may just be a side, but I also like the idea of you and I smoking a cigar and just hanging out,
right?
And
Exactly.
playing chess. So
last week I was invited to by Darryl Hurst. He had an event in North Baton Rouge at the Southern Coffee. He had a game night for adults of the North Baton Rouge area, and he had me. I was invited to come and pull out the chessboard and bring chess to that event.
Cool.
And it came out really, really nice. So that kind of sparked a little bug.
Anytime you have anything going on, let me know. I'll post it on Geaux Rouge. We're about out of time, though, Ryan. Ryan, thanks for coming in. Alondra, thank you for being on Master Control. It's been a long week for everybody. Somebody bet me today that I couldn't use the word pine cone on Court TV, and I used it twice. It felt somewhat laborious, but I did it. And in fact, the inner circle of people that knew that I was doing it, it's national TV. I used the word pine cone twice. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways. So if you like what you heard on the Geaux Rouge show, and hopefully you did, definitely check us out on YouTube. You can definitely listen on Talk 107.3. And it's like sometimes I talk about law, sometimes I talk about chess, sometimes I talk about cancer, sometimes I talk about pine cones. Anyways, that's about it for this episode of the Geaux Rouge show. Franz Borkart telling you we'll be back next week.
Thank you, Alon.
Thank you, YouTube. Ryan Harris,
How you doing?